Hi there and welcome to another Team Clueless Battle Report. So today's special mission we're going to do is called Informant Escort. Each side is going to be given an informant model. They're kind of like an Imperial Guard stat model, 3 strength, toughness. They've got 2 wounds and 2 attacks each, and they've got leadership 10 and stubborn. And you're given this model, and the idea is you've got to escort it to your opponent's board edge and have it start the turn within 2 inches of opponent's board edge, and then it leaves the table and you have managed to succeed in escorting your informant off the table. You then score 3 victory points for doing so. They're reasonably survivable. They're an independent character who can never accept or issue challenges. They've got Eternal Warrior to go with their 2 wounds, and they've also got a free up invulnerable save, so they're pretty survivable. They have a special rule that if they're in a unit of troops, they automatically pass their Lookout Sir rolls, just to give troops a bit more of a role in a game with no objectives. So, as I said, you get 3 points for getting him off the table. If at the end of the game your informant is alive but still on the table, you score 1 victory point. And if you manage to kill your opponent's informant, you score 3 victory points. So there's a few victory points on offer there through the informant mechanics. It is also a kill point game, so you score kill points from killing your opponent's units as normal. So basically you're going to have a big battle and killing the informant is going to give you quite a lot of kill points in a swing. We are playing standard Dawn of War deployment, and we've already started deploying because we forgot to do the video. So Mark has got this side of the table and he is going first, and he is playing Space Marines and your Salamanders today. Yep. The Grey Salamanders, and they have some Imperial Guard allies, and you can see he's set up some of his stuff here. He's got mainly his vehicles, but he'll go through his army in a minute. I am on this other side of the table. We're playing on a snow table today, so there is the kind of like industrial terrain you can see on the board, but there are also, if I go a bit lower, you can see there are hills buried under the snow, so there's a bit more terrain than at first appears obvious. Okay, let's go through the armies. Okay, I have to forgive the state of my painted army today because it's not that well painted. Mainly undercoated though. So I'm bringing a 1750 point force of Space Marines today, and I'm allying 2 chapters together. Now, some people don't like that, but I think it's a cool rule. So we have first of all the Scarlet Scars. They are white scars, but they're painted red. So we are led by Kasaro Khan there. He has a librarian with him, also on bike. He's a level 2 and he's got a force spear. And he has also got the Auspex, and he's got some melter bombs. I rolled up his psychic powers and I went straight for telepathy, and I got both of the level 2 powers, so I have hallucinate and invisibility. I can only cast 1 a turn, but both of them are pretty powerful. Also in the HQ slot I have a Tech Marine on bike. He's armed with a Combi Grav. We have a command squad, so they've got an apothecary, they've got 3 normal guys with plasma guns, and they have a company champion who's got a power spear. I have a troop choice of 5 bikes. They've got 2 grav guns and 1 combi grav gun. I have another troop choice of bikes. They're a full squad. They have a melter gun attack bike, multi-melter attack bike, 2 melter guns, and a veteran sergeant armed with power fist. Then lastly, in the Crimson Scars, or Scarlet Scars, whatever I called them, we have a attack bike with multi-melter. Then we move on to, and I haven't decided a good name for these, let's go for the Scarlet Hands. They are also in red, but who says 2 red chapters can't ally together? I don't know. So we have the Chapter Master of Doom. So he's a Chapter Master on bike, he's got the Eternal Warrior shield, he's got a Thunder Hammer, obviously he's got It Will Not Die and Feel No Pain from being a member of the Iron Hands, so he's pretty boss. I think he also has an Auspex as well. And then I've got some vehicles to go with him. So we have a Hunter, Stalker I think this one is, maybe. The anti-air tank with the 2 strength 7 guns that can split fire. We have an Ironclad Dreadnought with a flamer, and he's inside a drop pod. We have a Storm Talon with the Skyhammer missiles, and as a very common tactical choice, I think we'll see lots of these in the troop slot in little Space Marine allies. You'll often see them with Tigerius, but we have 5 Space Marine Scouts. Today they have sniper rifles and camo cloaks. Let's see what Mark's bringing for his 1750.
Right there guys, this is the, what am I going to call myself today? I'll call myself the Sadie Greyers or something, I don't know, stupid. I'm going to call myself the Executioners, but I forgot to say it. Right, so I've done a little bit of combat squad and stuff like that, so I'll just do my best, because obviously it's not quite the normal way you do it. This is a combat squad of Tech Marines with a las cannon. In here, I've got my Imperial Guard Company Command Squad. They have 2 Melter, 2 Flamers. Sorry, 2 Plasmas, 2 Flamers. In here, I have a Tactical Squad with double Melter. In here, I have Stone Guard with Vulcans in there, my Informants in there, and they've just got 5 normal Stone Guard Marines, as normal as they can be anyway. I have a Griffin here because it's really, really good. I have another double Melter Tactical Squad. In reserves, walking around, little view of his house. Right, I have a Storm Talon with Skyhammer, Vendetta, triple las cannon. Inside of Vendetta is a veteran squad with triple melter. I also have a squadron of Legion of the Damned. They have triple melter and the sergeant has a power axe. And I have 5 assault marines with double flamer. And I believe that was everything. And I've got the other 5 guys that are part of a combat squad. They've just got a flamer as well. End of that.
Okay, so this is set up for turn 1. Mark, as he showed you when he was going through his army list, is set up over there. He's got the ruins and such, and a bit there with his vehicles behind, with his Colossus, which is, I suspect, going to try and snipe out my Informant. Now, these armies weren't really designed for this mission in mind, so my Informant is rocking around with some bikers over here. This is my grab bikes squad. They are led by the Tech Marine. In the centre I have deployed Khazaro Khan, and he has the large troop squad of bikes, which has got all the melters in. We have the multi-melter attack bike there, hiding behind this big piece of terrain. I've already scouted forward, by the way, just so you know. My scouts are sitting up on top of this building. We decided that these 2 are not impassable, but they require a 5 to get up or get down, or you can just leap off if you really feel the need. My Stalker is at the back here, or it might be a Hunter. One day I'll get that name right, one day. And over here we have Command Squad led by the big buffy Iron Hands Chapter Master. So let's see if I can steal initiative. Do I even want to steal initiative? That is a question. Now Mark is passing me the dice, he's put it on a 6. Do you think that Mark's saying that he wants me to steal? I'm going to try and steal. I think it would still be useful. I have stolen the initiative. Not sure if that's a good thing or not, but we'll see.
I don't know. Yes, I think it is.
I think it probably is. I've got a reasonable amount of firepower. You'll find out in about 2 seconds. Okay, so it's end of, what are we calling ourselves? Scarlet Marine Combination Turn 1. I apologise for the no fluffiness going on there. Oh, Mark is quickly making a leadership test. I'll tell you what it is in a minute. He has passed with a 5. So, I'd obviously scouted forward, which meant no assaulting this turn. So over here we moved the bike squad, which is escorting my, what did I call them? Informants. Escorting the Informants up. He is hiding at the back there, and he has a dude protecting him there. They're a troop unit, so he automatically passes any lookout surge he's going to need to make. So they move forward to put their grabs in range of the Rhino that was up there. I also deep struck in my Ironclad Dreadnought here, and I moved up the Melter squad of bikes to kind of like surround that Rhino. I was hoping all that firepower to wipe out the squad that was inside that Rhino. I couldn't decide which one to fire first, which is a bit of an issue because I didn't want to wreck the Rhino, because if I did, Mark would be able to hide behind it. So I've decided Melter was the way to go, as it has more chance of exploding. I fired the Ironclad at it first, missed with the Melter. So then I had to fire this whole squad, which was there to really kill the troops once they got out. So I fired those and predictably blew up the Rhino, but Mark cunningly put his troops behind the hill you can see there, so they get a bit of cover. So then I fired my grabs in. I hit quite a few times, but Mark was pretty useful on his saves, and I don't think he lost any models. No models lost. But he did fail his pinning check for the vehicle exploding, so they're stuck there, which isn't really a particularly good position for them to be in. Over here, the attack bike swung round to the side and melted the side of this Rhino. It's got no cover, so I thought, pretty useful. But unfortunately, I rolled a 1 to hit with the melter gun. I'm not particularly good with single melters. Really need to spam them to get the hits in. The plasma squad did a bit better. The chapter master at the front used his Auspex to reduce the cover save of the Marines hiding in the ruins by 1. And then I opened fire with the 3 plasma guns from the command squad and managed to kill the las cannon who was standing near the front, and a couple of other space marines who were in there. They passed their leadership test, but I killed the las cannon, which was what I was mainly aiming to do. I also tried invisibility this turn on the librarian, but I rolled an 11, so he failed to cast. At the back, these 2 units didn't really do a lot. I snap fired my Hunter Stalker. I'm going to look that name up so I don't have to say Hunter Stalker every time.
Especially Hydra.
I fired it over there at the Colossus hiding at the back. It's not a Colossus, is it, Mark?
No, it's still a Griffin.
It's a Griffin. God dear, what is it about kind of like weapon tanks? I just don't have the names.
I don't know.
So I fired over there at that. I got a hit in but failed to penetrate, and I also fired at the Space Marines that were hiding in the ruin over there but didn't do anything. The Scouts, as ever, shot their weapons and did nothing. They really are just a scoring 70 points. So not particularly good first turn for me, but I think the fact that I stole initiative, combined with the fact that Mark's got quite a lot of stuff off in reserve, has given me a bit of a jump on him here. It all depends how well I survive his firepower in the first turn, but I'll be in Assault next turn, and I'm much better in Assault than him due to the fact I've got so many characters. So let's see what happens.
Right, this is the end of my turn 1. I'm not going to bother naming my chaps because I'm lazy. Okay, so probably these guys turn around to use their flamer, and with the orders to make a re-roll successful cover saves, I managed to kill 2 of the plasma gunners and actually put a wound on the chapter master, which is quite useful. Down here, my melter was in range, but even with twinning, I missed twice, so I had to snapshot these guys into them. I managed to get penetration from the ironclad, but all I've done is make it so he can't move or shoot, so not too bad, but not too brilliant. These guys managed to use with a combination of the multi-laser and the cracking rounds in here, I've managed to take out the attack bike, which actually is good. And then down here, the Griffin fired in, and due to the ordnance, actually able to take out one of the melters here, which was quite useful. So, all in all, an okay turn considering what I've got, but a lot's going to depend on how much damage he does to me now.
Okay, so it is the Scarlet Marine combination, turn 2. So firstly I rolled for my Storm Talon coming in, as you can see, still sitting on the coffee table, so he didn't come in, which I was quite pleased with, due to the fact I wanted him to come on and shoot Mark's flyers, not vice versa. So moving up with my Grav squad, which are still escorting my Informant, they have moved up to here, and they were going to be taking Grav shots or whatever survived over there. My Dreadnought was immobilised, not immobilised, my Dreadnought was unable to move or shoot this turn, but he can obviously still snap fire, so he turned around and snap fired sideways into the back of a Rhino over here. I did a cunning trick shot with the dice. I managed to roll it through one of these tunnels and it popped out the other end on a 6. Mark failed his cover save and I managed to blow it up in the single shot, which was really nice. But adding insult to injury, the squad inside failed the pinning check, which is the second one Mark's failed this game. So they were sitting there not being able to respond very easily. So then we moved down here, we moved our big bike squad and surrounded his squad of tactical marines there, and I'd moved one guy around as far as possible to try and get a multi-assault onto the Griffin. I got a name right, get in.
Check you out.
So I shot them up first and I killed quite a few of them. I think there were 4 left in the squad. So then I managed to get the multi-assault in due to judicious placement of models. I wanted the multi-assault not to kill the Griffin because I only had 1 crack grenade, which wasn't really going to hurt it, but I wanted to lose the attacks on the charge. So look at the end of the combat, there is 1 guy left, meaning I'm still pinned in the combat, meaning I can't be shot, which is quite nice. Moving sideways, I don't have many units. Over here, this squad has not been performing particularly well so far. It keeps on failing saves and such, but I'd move forward again to try and get some multi-assaults in. The initial plan was to multi-assault the Rhino that the tactical squad were in, but because I had blown up, Mark had deployed all his guys quite far back, and I only rolled a 5 on my multi-assault, so I managed to multi-assault the Chimera, but didn't get to, assault the Chimera, but didn't get to assault into the tactical marines, which was a bit annoying, as my chapter master had moved quite far forwards. I'd attempted to blow up the Chimera beforehand by firing at it with my... Oh, I said I was going to remember this thing's name. I'm just going to plump for one and hope. I reckon it's a Stalker. So my Stalker fired at it, but didn't really do a lot. The Scouts over there managed to plink off one of these Space Marines. There's only 1 guy left for the kill point. When I assaulted in here, my Hammer of Wraths blew up the Chimera, or destroyed the Chimera. It didn't blow it up, unfortunately. So the guys are out the back and are going to melter the crap out of me next turn. If he had Melter, he's probably going to plasma the what's it out of me. So overall, not a bad turn, but again, not brilliant. Reasonably evenish so far. Mark's reserves are going to come on this turn, so I think that's going to, depending on what they do, that's going to be the big change of the game, because he's quite a few points down with stuff on table. So let's see how they affect it.
Right, end of my turn 2. So, started off well. Every single one of my reserves have came on. Unfortunately, my luck kind of ended there. Round here, I got these guys moved around so they would get in every single one of their flamers, every single one of their plasmas, and with orders. But even with all that, I still only got 1 hit. I then tried to rapid fire these guys. They did nothing. Vulcan fired his twin linked heavy flamer, did nothing. These guys, sorry, let's center the camera so I'm doing it like a normal person. These guys did their double melt into the Ironclads, but they actually missed. The Ironclad was taken out by a Storm Talon, firing in its rear armour. I mean, I'm still impressed with this guy. Every time I use him, he does well.
Storm Talon is just money for the boys.
He's just really so useful with the turret. I think it just really adds a lot of flexibility to the play. This squad, what you expected to happen, Khan killed the one guy and they've consolidated out. Down here, I tried to put some real pressure onto the Informant. These guys deep struck in with 2 flamers getting 7 hits, and all my bolters didn't kill a single guy. These guys only managed to kill 2 with their melter, and also this guy automatically passes lookout cert. So he's managed to kill all 4 of his special people alive. So he's got his Tech Marine Sergeant and 2 grav guns. So it's a little bit frustrating. The Vendettas come on, and he's managed to take off 2 whole points off that guy, and he can't move or shoot this turn. So that is the end of my turn 2.
Okay. It is my, what do they call them? Scarlet Scars. One day I'll remember that as well. Dear me. Like a goldfish, my memory. So, Scarlet Scars, turn 3. What happened? So, I did a lot of character shuffling this turn because I really needed to reallocate my squads. The issue being that I'm having at the moment is that I don't have enough squads to target Marks. He's far more MSU than I am, so my squads are better than his, but he's got so many, I'm really struggling to get firepower into the right places. So, Khosrow Khan moved out of the squad he was in there, and stayed on his own and assaulted the 5 assault marines there. Unfortunately, he took 2 wounds, one from going in and then one from their attacks back. He killed 3 of them and they're locked in combat, so that's reasonable. Over here, this squad moved this way, obviously dragging the Informant with them, just getting rid of a model over there, and then they fired their shots back at the Legion of the Damned. With their ignores cover, they're a real issue to my bikes. I've managed to kill the melter gun at the front and one of the other members of the squad. He's still got his sergeant, but I also killed his multi-melter, so there isn't any melter left in there, but they're an assault threat because the sergeant has a power axe, so he's pretty beefy. Moving round the table this way, I snap-fired this up at the Vendetta, managed to get a glancing hit on it, so couldn't really complain about that. My scouts, who are just sitting around being pointless this game, the only thing I could really do there, attempted to bring down a Storm Talon with their sniper rifles. Predictably, it did not work. Other stuff, so the command squad that was over there, I'd cast invisibility with the librarian. Now, there is many a rules debate on the internet which we won't go into about what happens when you cast a blessing on a squad and then split up, because I split off 2 independent characters. Mark and I agreed between us that there would be 1 instance of the invisibility and it could go either with the characters that split off or stay on the squad. So I decided to keep it on the squad, so those 2 are invisible, even though you can see them. And the Chapter Master and the Librarian joined up with the bigger Melter squad, because Mark had his Informant in a Rhino in the centre, and I'd run out quite quickly of anti-tank weapons, so I needed the Melter to try and pop the tank so I could assault the contents. Unfortunately, I only hit with one of the Melters, and it only did a can't move or shoot for the turn, so I ended up having to do another multi-assault. So the Chapter Master managed to blow up the Rhino with the last hit of the assault, which was getting a bit touch or go. I was getting a little worried. And the rest of the squad more or less all piled into the tactical squad in the centre there. The Librarian challenged out their leader and managed to kill him, and my Power Fist managed to do nothing, unfortunately. And I didn't kill any other of his squad, and he killed one of mine. I was rolling pretty poorly, but I made up for it with the blowing up of the Rhino at the end there. So his dude, his Informant, is in the centre there with Vulcan, and my squad is still locked in combat there as well. So I'm locked in combat there, locked in combat over here as well, because this squad assaulted the remaining Imperial Guard. I didn't get a single wound on them in combat, which was pretty poor, but then Mark returned the favour, so we're sitting there doing nothing, quite impotent in that combat. I'm a little worried about the Legion of the Damned coming in and assaulting my Informant, but other than that, it's quite a well-balanced game at the minute. My Storm Talon didn't come on, so Mark's Flyers are really ruling the roost, and they're the thing I'm most afraid of.
Right then guys, this is the end of what's been a mentally draining turn 3. We've had an epic amount of rules queries and stuff like that, just generally trying to decide how things work, like getting out of transports, embarking and disembarking. Interesting rule in that you can get the guys out of the transport and then move normally, so he got to move 12 inches, which has meant I managed to get Vulcan, my guy, inside. So that was quite sort of very useful. That was just sort of a bit rulesy as well. And then what I've done here is I've used the Stern Guard to block off his assault charge for these guys. So lots and lots of little things are going on. He was hoping to be able to hit and run, but he managed to wipe me out. However, to top that off, he's now managed to get a 6-inch consolidate. so certainly well within charge range. Down here, the squad get out the triple melter, and my 3 las cannons fired into this guy. Didn't even take his last hull point off, so unfortunately he's still operational. So there's quite a lot hiding on whether he can shoot this guy out the air before his turn. So plenty going on here. Down here, the Griffin managed to help me out immensely down here by sniping off one of the grub weapons, and then with moving and assaulting and shooting, I've managed to kill off, including with the Storm Talon, all of the bikers down here, which has just left him on his own, the Informant on his own in combat with my lead to the dam. Sorry, I'm a little bit drained after that. It was quite a long turn.
Yeah, it was a pretty epic turn. That
yeah, lots and lots of sort of thinking and thoughts and plannings, and so it's quite takes your mind out of you sometimes. Down here in the combat, I still had my champion left, which was fortunate, which meant I managed to issue a challenge to Khan. He obviously killed me in combat, but that's now meant we're both alive. He's hit and run this way, and I've consolidated 6 inches. We're kind of staying abreast. So we're moving in. It's all pretty tight and confusing at the game at the moment, so this is Curly's turn 4.
Okay, it is my turn 4. This turn Mark had put in some really good moves last turn and had really spread his forces around, and they were all quite important. So I needed to do lots of movement myself to try and get some hits in, because I'm really suffering from not having enough squads again. So my Librarian cast invisibility, and himself and the Chapter Master split off and ran around the side here. They took the invisibility with them, and they joined up with the remainder of the command squad, which was over here. This squad decided they had to go sideways. We'd forgotten that Mark had another squad in reserve, and we haven't been rolling for it, so we couldn't really decide what to do about that, because it's quite advantageous to have them come on turn 4, because it means I didn't get to react to them in the first 2 turns. So we agreed that it would take D3 casualties, and he'd place them on the board so I could then respond by attempting to assault them and such. So we put them on over there. They lost 1 to the D3 wounds, and I moved my bike squad over. I fired all the bikes at them, but unfortunately I only managed to kill the 2 with the melters. Their saves were not bad. And then I attempted to charge them, took a wound from the Overwatch, but I didn't make it into combat, which was quite a big swing there, because they can now just come over and beat up my Informant. Again, to try and save the Informant, I decided I would move Khan over, because I needed to take out the attacks of the Sergeant, because he's a pretty beastly close combat model. So I moved over, got an assault in on him, I hit him with my D3 Hammer of Wraths and then 5 attacks on the charge, but unfortunately, you can see he is still there and Khan is now dead. So that one was not good. I fired the drop pod and the scouts at this lone marine here, but failed to hurt him. Over here my Storm Talon came on, but unfortunately only managed to get 1 wound, 1 hull point onto the Vendetta. So cheekily I grabbed a frag grenade and lobbed it up into the air intakes. It rattled through to the engine and exploded, doing it its final hull point, meaning it crashed to the ground. Unfortunately, because it wasn't an explode, Mark got to move out the back of it, so he moved Vulcan and his Informant out to the back there. I was left with an 8-inch charge from my Chapter Champion, and when I went to charge in, unfortunately Mark flamed me and killed the Chapter Champion. I then needed a 9-inch charge, which I failed abysmally, so unfortunately not in the combat there either. So that was a pretty bad turn. Everything I tried to do failed, really, other than the Vendetta dying, which I suppose stops Mark getting his thing off the board, but my Informant is looking in trouble, and I'm just not getting my Chapter Master into combat, and he's such a beastly dude, but I can't ever get him there, even with his massive movement. He's just not engaging anybody, so he's just wasted points at the moment. Let's see what happens on Mark's turn 5? Turn 5?
Turn 4.
No, turn 4, because I sneezed.
Right, this is the end of my turn 4. Actually, probably not the best of turn on balance now.
It was looking good until the last roll.
Yeah, it was started off so well. Down here, I managed to get myself hot on the plasma gun, which wasn't pretty. So I've lost one of my guys here, but the commander's still there. These guys have managed to melt a gun the Skyfire tank. The Griffin has failed to do any damage to these guys. I've just missed twice with my scatter. Right, these guys, Storm Talon plus Heavy Flamer, have fired into the bike squad and killed all but one of the normal bog standard bikers. Unfortunately, things went a bit Pete-Tong down here. The first 2 guys managed to get 2 wounds, only bounced both his saves again, so he's made every single save he's been asked to make. And
yeah,
then,
I'll just quickly reiterate that the Informants each have basically a Storm Shield for a 3-up invulnerable, so they're pretty survivable.
And then, just to make matters worse, he managed to kill my Legion Sergeant. So, yeah, that's not great. So it's once again, it's hanging in the goddamn balance.
Okay, so it is Scarlet Scars turn 5. Mark has popped to the loo so I can talk about him while he's not here. He's an excellent opponent, unfortunately. I'll see if he watches the video. So, what did I do this turn? My Storm Talon flew from over here to here and decided to shoot at Mark's Storm Talon. I'm still in the air, Mark was on the ground, but I decided to do that because Mark, if he goes back to the air, won't be able to get shots on me unless he flies past, so he stops getting his missiles. Unfortunately, I didn't really hurt. I did one hull point, which wasn't up to scratch. I fired the Storm Bolter from the drop pod down at this guy, vainly in an attempt to get a kill point from him, but failed. Marked lots of one-man units lying around on the board, which I'm failing to kill. My scouts up here decided to fire onto the 2 lone tactical marines that are over there, just to try and give me a bit of extra fire on them, because I was going to charge in with the bite, but they again failed to do anything. I think they haven't killed a single model this game, the scouts. I may burn them later on. So, the bike round here, he failed to kill anyone, but charged in anyway. He managed to survive the Flamer's Overwatch and then killed one with his Hammer of Wrath, which is quite nice. We're now locked in combat, but obviously I'm toughness 1 higher, so I'm slightly in the advantage there. Round here now, this was the important stuff of the turn. I'd moved my stuff down here, and it was again some intricate rules manoeuvring. So I'd moved my 3 guys down here so I could only see 2 of Mark's squad, one being the Sergeant. I wanted to challenge out the Sergeant so that my Chapter Master could then challenge Vulcan, and he really likely to kill Vulcan in a challenge. So I moved there and then focus fired just on the Sergeant. I only got 1 hit though with my bolters, which Mark made his save on, which was annoying. But it also meant, because of the way I positioned, Mark didn't get his full squad of Overwatch on me, because he could only see with 2 models plus Vulcan's flamethrower, and he rolled pretty bad with a flamer. So I managed to assault in with my Librarian, my Apothecary and my Chapter Master. The way it broke down was, I didn't challenge and Mark did challenge, so his Sergeant is in combat with my Apothecary. Both of us were useless in combat and failed to hurt each other. My Chapter Master moved in and he only got 1 wound through on the squad, which wasn't good, and Mark took it on his Informant, because he's in base to base with him, and made his free up invulnerable save. My Librarian was the star of the show, charging him with a Force Lance, and I managed to kill 4 Space Marines with his 4 attacks, which was pretty nice, and that's really swung that combat in my favour. Other than that though, it is pretty tight, and that's my turn 5. And the combat over here. My dude has now taken a wound. My Informant has taken a wound. He's still in combat with the 2 Legion of the Damned, but with 1 turn left of turn 5, Mark's the second of turn 5s. Both our Informants are still alive, but they're in a large amount of danger from the squads they are facing, so it could really go either way. Let's see what happens on Mark's turn 5.
Right then guys, this is the end of my turn 5 and potentially the game. So, very, very interesting turn. We'll start down here. The veteran squads have got out and they got sort of decent line of sight into the scouts. Between their shooting, I've managed to kill 3 of them, and they're currently running, which will be quite important. Down here, the biker and the flamer fought an ineffectual combat, and he's now hit and run out there. Down here, unfortunately, even with 7 attacks, I haven't ticked off another wound, which was bad. Down here, my Storm Talon positions itself to get an arse shot on him. Didn't do a single thing. So actually, on hindsight, might not be that great a turn for me. However, down here, Vulcan Heston heroically interventioned. I managed to kill the Apothecary, which got me another kill point. And he actually flubbed his attacks quite badly, and he got 1 kill point himself. His Warlord trade got me 1 more point.
Yeah, he's got the worst Warlord trait in the game.
It just became relevant, which means this squad failed its leadership test and is currently running. Because of all these running squads, I am currently winning the game. So, we're going to do, and also there's not much units left in combat, we're going to do a live on-shot camera shot. 1
or 2, the game is over. Thank God for that.
Game continues.
Okay, Scarlet Marines turn 6. This was a better one. I finally got my combat on. So, first thing did, the scouts rallied. They moved up to the base of this. At the start of the game, Mark and I decided that you needed a 5-inch move to get up this bit of terrain to get to the top. So I moved into base to base with my 3-inch free Space Marine move for some reason, and then I managed to use my move through cover to get to the top of that. So I'm in reasonable cover up there because it's 4 up terrain, and Mark will find it hard to get up there to assault me or anything, so I'm hoping they'll survive. Over here, This one didn't go so well. Finally, my super luck with my 3-up invulnerable save failed, and Mark managed to kill my informant. So that lost me the victory point I had for keeping him on the table, and gained Mark 3 for killing him. So that was pretty important there. They're all making a beeline now over this way. I'd taken my Storm Talon, moved him over here and gone into hover mode, and my lone remaining biker there had also moved over here. The biker fired on Mark's company command squad and managed to kill him, and the Storm Talon opened fire onto the squad which contained Vulcan, the Informant, and the lone sergeant in the Sternguard squad. The Informant managed to shunt all his wounds onto the Sternguard sergeant, who died, and Vulcan also took a wound. I then assaulted him with my chapter master and my librarian. Finally, my chapter master got into combat and managed to challenge Vulcan and squished him with a thunderhammer. So that was 2 victory points for me there, 1 for Vulcan and 1 obviously for Warlord. My librarian then landed a load of hits onto Mark's informant and killed him. So turn 6, both informants died. I really thought they weren't going to survive that long this game. So that was quite a swingy turn. We both got the informants, so that didn't really change the game state. But I got 2-3 kill points from this combat due to Vulcan and the last remaining Sternguard sergeant. So let's see what Mark can do with his turn 6. I think I'm about 3 kill points up, around about. I'm not certain on that though. We'll add it up for next video. Same place again.
Right, this is the end of my turn. I needed to pick up 3 kill points this turn, so I tried to string out my veterans, get a few shots at the scouts. Didn't do the business. These guys tried to shoot off the lone biker, didn't do the business. Heavy flamer moved up, didn't do the business. One lone superhero, he managed to chuck a crack grenade up the Storm Talon, took a glancing hit.
What is it with us with crack grenades versus flyers?
Charged in, I managed to blow it up, so that was quite useful. This guy failed. Storm Talon almost had a veteran turn, has managed to put these guys each on 1 wound, but sadly not enough to get me a kill point. So currently Curly is winning the game, and we're just going to roll to see if we get an end.
So 4+, the game is over. No, turn 7.
No, 1, 2, 3 game ends.
Oh, damn it.
Yeah, game's over. 1, 2, 4.
Okay, so our thoughts on the game after that epic game. It was a brilliant game. It was really swingy, and neither of us knew what was going to happen, did we?
Mentally draining. I mean, I was winning the end of turn 5, you're winning the end of turn 6.
Yeah, that's it. It's just
hard to say if we'd gone on with you guys. I now had easy kill points.
Yeah, that's it. I think everything I had left on the table. What did I have left? So Mark's putting his models away, but he had left 2 Legion of the Damned, he had 2 lone tactical marines and 1 lone assault marine, his Storm Talon plus all of his veterans over here. I had left 3 scouts, a drop pod which was unhurt, a Storm Talon, oh no, Mark killed the Storm Talon, a biker who's left on 1 member of his squad, and my 2 characters which are 1. So Mark probably had more left in play, but I have my 2 characters, so they're quite powerful. So reasonably even in that regard. I mean, how do you think the mission worked, Mark? I really enjoyed it, actually. I felt the
mission worked well.
Yeah, I felt the informants were just the right side of survivable, so they weren't auto-dead if they got caught.
You had to really play them well. The 3+ available, so it's quite useful.
Yeah.
It's how you tactically use it and stuff.
We were both so careful in our placement of them, and I felt we both used the challenge mechanics really importantly this game, because there were so many times it was really important of absorbing wounds and diverting attacks.
There was a lot of very strange rules things that came.
Yeah, that's it, because you could tell we were both on top of our game here, because we were really picking at the rules to try and get the advantage.
The vehicle disembarking was just ridiculously complicated at times, but thoroughly enjoyed it. I love games like that.
That's it.
Kay and I both play. I think when you play a game, you've got to play the same mentality.
That's it. We fit together really well that way, don't we? We like to use all the rules to our advantage, where sometimes we don't want to use all the rules to our advantage, but when we play each other, we always do.
Well, that's it. I mean, the rules are there. I mean, may as well use them. I know some people sort of think it's rules loitering, but I thoroughly enjoy those kind of games.
Yeah, that's it. And again, it's you see if your opponent likes doing that, and if he doesn't. So when we play each other, we're quite happy to do it, aren't we?
Yep, play each other often enough. But yeah, I've really enjoyed the game. Really, you can't get much closer, can you? Than
No, that was it. I think it was because I forgot the Storm Talon when I just added them up. I had 16 at the end, and you had 14 at the end. So close. That's pretty bloody close, considering all my stuff was on 1 wound as well.
Yeah, we had we just demolished each other's armies. Really.
Yeah. Very little left on the table. What do you reckon your MVP of the day was?
I don't really know.
I would have said Legion of the Damned on turn 4, because it took them so long to kill my dude.
Yeah. no one did badly, no one did outstanding. I think it seems to be the way of my armies.
I think your Storm Talon was really good. Every turn he was putting important fire down.
Storm Talons are so good. I don't get people. Some people don't think they're any good, but these people I disagree with quite strongly, to be honest. Because every time I take it, it's just been so useful. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you could be right. Storm Talon was powerful. Vendetta pulled the manoeuvre of the game, I suppose.
That's it.
Can't really argue with that, and got yourself a kill point or two. So
it's my first time with a really solid bike army, lots of bikes. And I loved the manoeuvrability. If I was any less mobile, you'd have easily had me with your shenanigans, with your moving around with your flyer and disembarking, embarking, and such.
And your close combat as well, which is so much more powerful than mine.
Yeah, that's it.
It's the Space Force. You know, I can't win in close combat, but I whittle away you a lot more than what I did.
I think it hit home, didn't we? I charged your 10-man squad with my bikes, and if I was charging Space Wolves, you should have hit me back with 30 attacks.
Rerolling ones.
Yeah, but you only hit me back with 10, so it was a big difference. But overall, that was a thoroughly awesome game. Thanks for the game, mate.
No problem. Thanks for playing.
Thanks for watching, everyone.